So first of all, I'm going to apologize that this session's in English. That's because I'm English, and I'm apologizing because I'm English, so the whole thing is due to that. Also, I have some fierce competition in the fact that the other session is Google, so if you thought you were in that session, sorry, but it does mean that you actually want to be here to hear this, so thank you very much for coming to listen to me. Just to overview what our agenda is going to be, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we mean by technical and why I'm talking about the people side of technology and not so much about the technology itself. We'll get into a discussion of the role of the technical marketer in today's modern marketing age. I'm going to talk a bit about development techniques in how you can develop technical people within your organization, and talk a little bit about the swaying and balance between in-house and outsourcing. The reason that I want to talk about these things is I've had more conversations in the UK, Germany, in the US, and in the Middle East about this topic than any other topic in the last 6 months. Okay, this is a very topical thing of how we get the most out of the technology that we buy, and that has to do with enabling and empowering and training the people. So the first thing that I want to talk a little bit about is language. It's clear that I don't speak Swedish, pero hablo español et parle français, and I know sign language, but I don't know Swedish. That's why today's in English and not in sign language or any other language. But when I talk about languages in technology sense, we tend to think about coding and program languages. So, do you speak HTML? Are you able to understand the structure of a programming language? Are you able to comprehend JavaScript? Are you able to understand what JavaScript does in the web world? Can you utilize SQL? SQL is the key for translating data objects. So do you have a handle on those sorts of things? And then finally, do you speak binary? Chances are that only your mobile phone will be able to speak binary. It's the only thing in the room that can. But the reason that I wanted to bring this up is to say when we talk about technology and we think about people being technical, we tend to think about people who can use these languages and people who have this technical ability as being one of the main drivers behind what we think of as technical. But I want to break that down, and I want to make sure that we're speaking in this room the same language. Okay. So when I talk about technical knowledge, or when people talk about technical knowledge, that's actually a very relative term. Okay. We all use mobile devices. We all use the iPhone. Many of you are probably very good users of your iPhone. That means you are technical to some degree because you use a technical device. But technical knowledge is simply possessing knowledge that's appeared to be or deemed to be technical. Examples of that from my perspective would be someone who can write Visual Basic, or someone who could create an application, or someone who could code an operating system. For me, I feel those people are technical. However, technical knowledge, or the knowledge of technology, is something that's very different. Knowing how technology fits together, knowing how technology is applied, is a different concept altogether, and it's this one that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about making everyone in your organization an expert at coding HTML or SQL, but understanding what technology does is very, very important. I'm going to cite a different example now, one that's not about technology. So I am a musician. This is me about 10 years ago playing in a band. I can play music, I can sing, I play piano and guitar. I can record music. I can record music into my laptop, and I have a piece of software in my laptop that captures that music. And I know a little about using that software application. But when I try and make the music sound good, it doesn't. It doesn't sound right. And the reason is, I'm not a sound engineer. I'm a musician. And they're two very, very different things. The ability to be able to understand and manipulate sound is a different skill set altogether, and I don't possess that. So, therefore, what is the role of the technical marketer? And why would we want to introduce this concept of a technical marketing role? Well, when marketers were asked about the main reasons why they're not able to deliver complex and sophisticated orchestrated cross-channel marketing, the dream of what we all want to do, the scary statistic is that in only a year, the number of people saying that lack of knowledge is their main obstacle has doubled. So 2014 to 2015, that's a huge increase. The number of people who state lack of skills has increased by 50%, whereas the number of people who said technology limitations has only increased 10%. So if these obstacles to people progressing and making their marketing more sophisticated isn't based on the technology that they're buying, then the focus must absolutely be in the space of skills and knowledge. And this is a quote from me. I take the fact that I don't believe there is a place in digital marketing for people who aren't willing to develop some level of technical ability. And that could be technical skills, or it could be technical knowledge. So understanding the way that all of this technology works. So what are some of the key attributes for technical marketers? If you want to go and hire them, or you want to go and develop them from within your own organization, what are some of the things you want to be focusing at and looking at? The first is rapid adapters. And there's a great reason for that. Cloud technology and marketing technology changes at an accelerated pace. Every single year we come here, we're hearing about new technologies that can enable us that we didn't even know existed the year before. So the pace of change is incredible. But also, a lot of these applications are now in the cloud. And so their pace of change is even more highly enabled because they're doing new product releases and new features every 3 months, or even monthly in some cases, that you need to be able to adapt to change. You need to be able to adapt and learn new things quickly. The next key quality is what we call pie-shaped people. So this is the mathematical symbol pi, and it's used, we'll see it again a little bit later, but it's the new term. We used to call them T-shaped people. Is anyone familiar with that? Where you've got a breadth of expertise, a breadth of knowledge and a depth of expertise. Well, pie-shaped people are able to have a breadth of knowledge and multiple discipline levels of expertise. So they're able to develop a breadth of knowledge and also develop simultaneously these multiple branches of expertise. And the last one is innovators. We all like to be innovative and we all like to think of this word of innovation, but how do you identify an individual as being innovative? They like to discover new things. They like to follow the key trends. They actually invest some of their own time in doing that. And they're creative problem solvers. So if you're looking for interview techniques, if you want to hire new people, or you're looking at ways in which you can develop existing people, these are the key skills that you want to be developing. It's not so much about, I want to hire someone that has experience using this product, because experience is no key indicator of expertise or ability in these areas. So if we want to develop and create some of these technical marketers, what are some of the ways that we can do it? Well, training is a great way to invest in people in the organization and for someone to develop their skills. It was interesting in that same survey run by eConsultancy that 50% of digital marketers said that training was only a medium or a low priority. So it's not even high on their agenda to be focusing on training. Now, the key headline here is that you should be dedicating a minimum of 10% of everybody's time in your organization to training and learning new things. Because you can't ever expect to adopt new technology and keep up with the pace of change if you're not making that 10% minimum investment, and that's a minimum investment. At Oracle, the organization that I work in, the marketing agency side of the Oracle Marketing Cloud dedicate 20%. So that's 1 day a week. And really you need to be thinking about a half a day a week. As I said, these cloud-based technologies evolve at a very rapid pace. Not only should you be thinking about training new people to your organization, but don't forget about people who already exist in that organization, especially if what you're asking them to deliver and do isn't something that they do on a very frequent basis. They may often need retraining and may often need refreshing. Another key thing to know is having people in your organization cross-train others in the organization is a really cost-effective way of sharing knowledge, but it shouldn't be your only route. You shouldn't be reliant on the expert in your team who knows all about search and SEO as being the one person who trains the other people that join that team or want to gain that knowledge. You have to reach outside, you have to reach towards your vendors to actually provide that training for them. And then the other thing is make sure you never have a single point of failure. And I mean never ever, that's why I've put that in capitals. Okay, a single point of failure is a very difficult thing to operate in an organization. Too often I've seen brands fall down in their marketing efforts because the one person who knew everything left. And they had a single point of failure. They didn't cross-train. And often it's pretty much the same cost, only slightly more, to train 2 people on something as it would be to train 1. Because you can do it simultaneously, they can learn together. So very important is making training a methodology, but another approach that you can take within your organization is, everyone familiar with the basic hierarchy? Okay, most people exist in organizations where your reporting line looks something like this. Okay. However, you can build virtual orgs across that group. So getting groups of people that have similar skills. So someone from marketing and someone from IT, someone from e-commerce and someone from data analytics. And bringing those people together into a committee or a consortium or a group that simply shares and talks about those skills that they can utilize amongst themselves. So copywriting and content is a good example. Bringing together a committee of people who are capable copy production writers that may be in completely disparate parts of your organization, but bring them together under one goal of getting better together at that particular task. And making sure that you give them an investment of time, again, making sure that you've given them a regular time where they can come together and meet, and introduce other knowledge sharing initiatives so that that group or committee can share and broadcast what they know and what they've learned across the rest of the organization. So we'll come back a little bit to organizational structure in a moment, but it's good to know most of you are familiar with that hierarchy. So there's another model that's worth introducing now, which is about different development tracks, which is great for career progression. Okay, it's great for career progression of people, but it also helps us towards our goal of having more well-rounded individuals in our organization. So we tend to look at this icon representing specialization. This is about helping someone become an expert or helping someone learn a depth of knowledge. And this could be a track that someone in your organization says, I want to be on the specialization track today. You know, for this week or this month, I want to be learning a skill in depth. As an alternative to that, you have diversification. So someone who works in SEO search might want to learn a little bit more about display media buying. Or someone who works in email marketing might want to spend some time with the app team to understand more about how push works. This isn't about transferring their job function, it's about expanding that knowledge across breadth. And then the final piece is innovation. So I want to spend time learning and developing new things. I want to see and problem solve and create new things out of what we already have. And I want to be understanding what are the latest and greatest things that we need to put together. So with those 3 tracks, you can also create some neat combinations. So you can have the diverse innovator. The diverse innovator is someone who looks across multiple areas within the business and also innovates simultaneously. You might have the specialist innovator, who's really interested in being a specialist, but also to innovate in that particular area. And then this is the pie shape I was talking about, this diverse expert or diverse specialist who has this breadth of knowledge and also multiple levels of expertise. And then the golden level that you want to reach, the pro level you want to reach, is the full package, where you have an individual who's embracing all parts simultaneously, and they're the key people that you then want to develop more within the organization. So talking about organizations and how they fit together, there's a lot of, actually, let me go back. There's actually not a lot of research been done into successful organizational structures. There just isn't a lot around. And there are many different types of organization and way of organization of structure, and some of them are more beneficial for certain things and some are more beneficial for other things. But generally, most organizations will start over here in a dispersed manner. So you have someone who has some digital capability who sits in a team over here and another one over here, which looks a little bit like these committees I was just talking about. The next level is to move to a center of excellence, which really just aligns all of those skills together in one organization. So anyone that it works for a company that has an e-commerce team, you know, that's normally going to be a center of excellence, or a digital marketing team, that's going to be a center of excellence. When you evolve and sort of merge the best of both worlds of those 2 schemes, you end up in what's known as a hub and spoke. So you might have a center of excellence that does the majority, and then you've got some smaller, disparate, remote groups that are dotted in different parts of the organization. And then as your org grows, if you have lots of different location, international markets, or different channel teams that you might want to work with, that's where the multiple hub comes in, where you might have a center of excellence for digital marketing, a hub that might look specifically at search or display or social, and then you have branches of expertise that actually link off of those. And this integrated model, which doesn't look very nice, it looks like it's taken from a biology textbook, it hasn't actually ever been achieved. There's no organization that's really fully integrated. It really is about taking all of the benefits from having a dispersed practice and bringing them together in one big integrated group. So no one's actually ever achieved that level yet. Most will arrive at the center of excellence and then get to the hub and spoke, and that's significant enough for them. Now, the reason why you might want to start doing this, as we enter this era of connected platforms around marketing, this is the only technology slide, and it's not even really a technology slide, but someone from Oracle can't come up and talk without showing some kind of marketecture, right? It's in my contract. So we start off with this idea of connected data. So if you want to be able to connect your data together, you need to have some data expertise. Right? You need to have some data analysts, and you need to have people who understand how to transform data. No matter what platform you buy that enables you to do that, you've got to have someone to use it. We then talk about actionability, because bringing all of my data together is just one thing, but then making it actionable is really where I start to get value from it. And then I can utilize those actionable profiles to start doing some orchestration. So I can start using kind of email and all these different channels together. So people talk about orchestrated and cross-channel marketing. I then move into my digital experience layer, so my website, other commerce engines, other app areas, content marketing and social. And then I have optimization and insight that sits at this top layer. So testing, personalization, and optimization of those digital experiences, so whether that's an app or a website. This will be represented by people within your organization who probably don't even talk to each other. There are some groups that will not actually knowledge share, not because they deliberately want to, but because they don't actually know that the other one exists. The group that manages web content and the group that sends emails are under completely different reporting lines. And so to start to bring together that integrated structure is because this is how you're going to solve for some of those marketing challenges, and this is how that you're going to progress. Plus, remember, your customer just sees one big experience. They don't care that that bit of content was written by someone in the social team and that email was sent by someone in the email team. They don't see that as two separate things, they see just one brand. So just moving on very quickly to talk a bit about insourcing and outsourcing. So you have lots of options apart from developing skills yourself in-house. You can buy them from somewhere else. You can buy them from an agency, a partner, a contractor. There's also places that you can get other skills. But your in-house things really need to be that day-to-day stuff. If it's something that you're doing every day, if it's something that's business critical, and if you're actually using applications that you're paying money for. So if you're buying an application, you should probably be using it, or at least developing and learning skills to use it. But on the outsourcing side of things, there may be skills you just simply don't have in the organization yet. There are capabilities you can't even develop because maybe you don't have any pie-shaped people or you don't have any rapid adopters. So you may need to think about, I want to utilize skills, capabilities outside. Also capacity that you can't manage. As capacity starts to vary, certainly across peak times and through the year, maternity leave, holiday, you name it, there's lots of reasons why that varies. So being able to fill up that capacity. And then also just skills you're not going to use very often. So if you only want to transform and clean your data once, don't employ someone who knows how to do it, just outsource it. But for some of the key skills that you are going to need as a modern marketer, you are going to need a data analyst. And I think of that as the great leveler of marketers that are serious about marketing, is that they have someone who looks at all of their marketing results. So if you work for an organization that has a marketing analyst, a digital data analyst, you're in this group, and if you don't, you're in this group. And that's just because the more seriously an organization takes marketing, the more important it is to start looking at and analyzing all of the stuff that's going on in there. Data manipulation, we live in a complicated world of big data. Data is absolutely scattered everywhere. You are going to have to manipulate it. Even if you have a fantastic product that you can use to make that mix happen, you still need to have someone that understands it. In this digital world, apps, websites, etc., it's quite important to have some digital coding skills, project management, strategy and planning are things that you want to own and bring in-house, and then content management, and also documentation and version control. So just taking control of some of those things. But these are some key skills that you're going to want to have as a modern marketer. So breaking into my last slide now, just the summary. Understanding the role of technical marketers in your organization. So using some of the stuff that I've told you about what you want to look for and how you want to find those people and how you want to carve out and create those roles. Dedicating time to training and development. There's no substitute for that. You can't buy that experience in-house. It just doesn't work, especially as things move so fast. You're very unlikely to employ someone who fits extremely nicely into your technology environment. And also create measurable goals around achieving those. And then finally, just get that balance between in-house and insourcing and outsourcing to make sure that, and that's a moving scale. So you're not always going to be outsourcing particular skills. You might do it to begin with, and then you might transfer some of those skills more in-house. And that brings us to the end. I hope that you've found bits and pieces of that content useful in evolving yourselves as digital marketers.